Hey everybody, this is Robert here, back with another video. Welcome to 2022. This is my first video of 2022. I like to start with the essential parts that you need to build a computer. There are 17 parts that you need. They're essential. So, let's get started. Okay. Essential parts that you need to build a computer. First off, you need a CPU, a central processing unit. And it can be an Intel Core i7, an Intel Core i9, or an AMD Ryzen series processors. Preferably at least a quad-core processor or 4 cores. And that will definitely have good performance for at least for a few years. You should be able to upgrade it to anyone that's compatible with the motherboard, which is the next item. Motherboard. Number 2, a motherboard that would be compatible with the CPU. A lot of them are usually Gigabyte, and they would also have ports such as USB, VGA, HDMI, Gigabit Ethernet, and also an auxiliary jack for headphones and stuff. You can also buy those little USB sound cards as well if needed, but they would usually have an auxiliary jack. For example, there's the auxiliary jack on my MacBook Pro. Number 3, RAM. DDR4 or DDR5 preferable. Here's an example of a RAM stick. This is the crucial 1 GB DDR2 RAM that I used to have on an old computer. That'll be essential for your short-term memory of the system. Good brands are Corsair, Kingston, and the one I have is Crucial. You need about at least 8 GB total. It'll probably be good for like 2 8 GB DIMMs. DIMM. But make sure they're also compatible with the motherboard in terms of double data rate, or DDR, DDR2, DDR3, DDR4, DDR5. Again, DDR4 or DDR5 is preferable. Number 4, power supply module. How's power going to get into it? Power supply module, such as this one, from an old computer, of course, comes with these little pin connectors. Typically from a company called Molex, but other companies do connectors as well. And these are measured in watts. This one's a Best Tech, and it measures about 165 to 218 watts maximum. So you want something greater than this. I know I'm a little itchy, but please bear with me there. So this power supply module is measured in watts, and probably want like 450 to 750 watts for something reasonable, to give you ample power for all the functionality that it needs. Now, typically motherboards will accept 12 volts, 5 volts, 3.3 volts, and negative 12 volts. of power. In fact, I've actually seen a YouTube video where someone took a power supply like this and turned it into an actual benchtop power supply. Pretty cool. Number 5. Hard drive or solid state drive. It's better to get a solid state drive. I would say that 512 gigabytes or 1 terabyte would be the sweet spot. It's not too expensive, and you don't want to spend too much on the solid state drive because you'll need to spend more money on the power supply, on basically the motherboard, power supply, and the graphics, which we'll get to. I've used the company Patriot from Amazon, and they've worked pretty well. They're made in Taiwan. At least the one I bought was made in Taiwan. Other name brands are also good, like Samsung is another one. Crucial. Maybe avoid Kingston. I've had some difficulty with a Kingston flash drive. I think it's a 32 gigabyte USB flash drive. I've had some problems with it. I can't get the computer to recognize the flash drive anymore. I think something got loose on the connection on the flash drive. Alright, next thing, number 6, you'll need cooling fans, at least 2. One for the CPU, and which will go on top of the CPU with another thing, thermal paste, and one for the case. At least one for the case. You may need more for the case. And here's a cooling fan, at least for the power supply unit. So you can just get those off of Amazon or Newegg or whatnot, or even Best Buy or Micro Center. Although Micro Center is actually not in Florida at all. The closest one to Florida is actually in Atlanta, Georgia, or not Atlanta, Georgia, but somewhere in Georgia. I think Albany or somewhere in that area. Okay, number 7, a case for all the components, of course. Those you can pay. You just need the case that would fit the motherboard, plus with a little bit of extra room. So just for the sizing, just look at the casing, and also for the typical I/O ports on the motherboard. You need to at least get to those. Typically the motherboard has like 4 to 6 USB type A ports. They may have a USB type C. Mostly it'll be a USB type A, as well as gigabit Ethernet, and I don't think they may have they may or may not have Wi-Fi, but I'll get to that. Okay, number 8. GPU, graphics processor. Needs to be compatible with the motherboard, and it basically just slits in a PCI Express slot. And typical brands are AMD or NVIDIA for the graphics, and this is separate, discrete graphics processor or GPU. Number 9, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth adapter. For the most part, you'll probably need a Wi-Fi adapter, which will most likely be USB to the Wi-Fi adapter. most likely be plugged into USB. Also Bluetooth adapter. They kind of go hand in hand a little. And that's so you can share files via Bluetooth or stream music or a conference call to like Bluetooth headphones or to a Bluetooth speaker. Wi-Fi, of course you need Wi-Fi for internet if you don't have, if your your modem or wireless router and modem are far away from you, like in another room. Number 10, USB flash drive with an operating system on it. You can use Balena Etcher to write an operating system onto a USB flash drive, and for Windows operating system, you can use their Microsoft's tool, USB tool, to do that. So Windows 10 or 11, or a Linux distribution such as Ubuntu, Linux Mint, Manjaro, or Elementary OS. Of course, Elementary OS is the most Mac-like, but Ubuntu and Linux Mint are really good for people who are not very savvy on, or some people who are like tech savvy but not like pros, not like professionals. Number 11, of course, you need a monitor. Here's a monitor that I have from Samsung, and this monitor will be, of course, displaying everything you need. 1080p or 4K monitor is good. I have 27-inch, but so that's probably about the monitor that you need, at least 24-inch monitor with, of course, the necessary cable, usually VGA, DVI, or HDMI cable. It'll traditionally come with the monitor. So you may need an adapter if your motherboard does not have that, or your graphics card does not have that particular cable. So you're gonna have to look into that. The one I have is a MacBook, and I have an adapter for it. There it is. Number 12, a keyboard. That's self-explanatory. You can just get any keyboard, wired or wireless. Just make sure you plug it into USB, the USB port. Number 13, a mouse or trackpad. Again, it should connect via USB, and it'll be wired or wireless. Doesn't matter. They'll all work. Number 14, speakers. You gotta be able to hear what you're trying to do. Whether you're watching videos on YouTube or any other way, you need speakers. Also, number 15, just for speakers, before I go to number 15, just use, but usually there you have an impedance of about 8 to 16 ohms, maybe 4 ohms impedance. Don't get the big honking ones, but you can use external speakers if you need to. That'll work too. Number 15, a microphone, similar to the one I have right here, or a webcam with a microphone. That way you'll kill two birds with one stone, so to speak, figuratively speaking. Yeah, webcam with a mic, very handy, and the Mac OS has a webcam already, except the Mac Mini. My old laptop over there Where it is. Yeah, right there next to the drum kit. Has a webcam. Not too good, so I kind of upgraded to a 720p, but now that I don't use that anymore, I have the MacBook one and it works much better, so I'm gonna use it for something else. But a webcam with a mic is ideal. Number 16, thermal paste. And that's just pretty basic, that you need to put thermal paste on the CPU so that you can put the cooler, the CPU cooling fan on it. And it'll radiate the heat out of it. And last but not least, a button cell battery for clock memory retention. And those are usually 3 volts and they're really easy, but you can use like CR 2025 or CR 2032. And okay, I do have a bonus fact, but let's go to the next clip. Okay, for the bonus fact, Mac OS is really a highly modified Linux distribution called BSD. It's Unix based, of course. They're all Unix based. However, Mac OS cannot be installed on any non-Apple hardware. So Mac OS has to be installed only on Apple hardware, like the Mac Mini, the MacBook Pro, the MacBook Air, the iMac, and the Mac Pro, or even the iPad. That's all I have for this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell notification for more content and an update. Or anytime I post, you will know. You'll be notified when I post. That's it for today, and see you in my next video. Bye-bye. Check.